Melilla and Ceuta are two Spanish enclaves located on the northern coast of Africa, bounded by Morocco. These territories have been under Spanish control since the late 15th century and are currently administered as part of the autonomous region of Andalusia, generally a part of Spain. So what would happen if Morocco, who have historically claimed the land as theirs, suddenly annexed these cities? What would the ramifications be? That is what we'll discuss today on Africa Assemble. By the way, be a friend and subscribe, click the notification button to never miss our videos, and like this video to help us make more content you love about our amazing continent. Let's dive in. Back in 700 AD, the Phoenicians found their way onto the African continent and settled in modern-day Morocco, a place they called Rusadir. However, as time went on, the city fell under the Arab conquest and eventually by Spain in 1497, becoming a base for Spain to explore Africa. Over the years, Morocco would attempt to reclaim the location, but in 1859, a treaty was signed between Morocco and Spain to recognize Melilla as a port of Spain. Ceuta, on the other hand, having a similar history, has seen more development because of its closer location to Europe. By 1081, the land was ruled by Berbers and the Fez, and then taken over in 1415 by the Portuguese during the conquest of Ceuta. After about 200 years, Ceuta was annexed by Spain, as the ruling Portuguese king died without an heir in 1668, and in 1668 the city was ceded to Spain as part of the Treaty of Lisbon. This led to the Siege of Ceuta, which saw Moroccan forces trying to regain Ceuta, but Spain was victorious. Eventually in 1860, the Treaty of Wadras was signed between the two parties, in which Morocco would recognize the cities of Melilla and Ceuta as territories of Spain, while Spain would compensate Morocco for the loss in damages due to the years of conflict. Later, Spain and France took over Morocco in 1912, with France occupying the north and Spain occupying the south. So when Morocco gained independence in 1956, Spain still held on to Melilla and Ceuta, and a few islands by Morocco, and here lies the issue pressing today. Morocco today claims that the cities are part of Morocco's history, and Spain holding on to them shows Spain is holding on to their colonial past, but Spain claims that these cities were part of Spain before Morocco even existed. This has also led to border control issues, fishing rights, diplomatic incidents, and hypocritical claims, specifically involving Spain's disputes with England over Gibraltar. So what would happen if Morocco just decided to annex these two cities? Well, it would be a very delicate situation, especially if it were done today with the current climate of the world. This action would have significant political, economical, and social consequences for both Morocco and Spain. From a political standpoint, the annexation would be a significant challenge to Spain's territorial integrity, and it would potentially lead to diplomatic tension between the two countries. Spain would likely resist any attempt by Morocco to annex these territories, and the international community would likely become involved in any negotiations or disputes. The relationship between Morocco and Spain will severely deteriorate, which would lead to Spain seeking support from its allies and international organizations. Economically, the annexation would have a significant impact on the economies of both Morocco and Spain. Melilla and Ceuta are both important commercial and industrial centers, and their annexation would disrupt trade and investment flows between the two countries, as they contribute significantly to Spain's GDP. It would also disrupt trade and investment flows between Morocco and other African countries. Socially, the annexation could have implications for people living in Melilla and Ceuta. These territories have significant populations of Spanish citizens, many of whom have lived in the enclaves for generations. The annexation could potentially result in the displacement of these populations and lead to social unrest. As the economy of Morocco is not as strong as that of Spain, Morocco would have to convince the citizens of these cities to integrate into Morocco or return to mainland Spain. But what would retaliation look like to this action? This would be a subject of international attention because now there will be full-scale wars in Europe and Middle East and now in Africa, as NATO would intervene at the behest of Spain. Some Moroccans would support the decision by the government, but most likely Moroccans would condemn this annexation, having sympathy for those displaced. This would even involve the King of Morocco if he disagrees with the action. It would create discussions between Moroccans and Spaniards all over the world, and world leaders would condemn the action, some understanding Morocco but aiming for a resolution. The Arab world may or may not support the actions of Morocco, as they are dealing with the Israeli-Palestinian issue at the moment. The United Nations would also become involved in any negotiations or disputes related to the annexation, as the UN Charter prohibits the acquisition of territory by force, and any attempt by Morocco to annex these territories would be seen as a violation of international law. The European Union has a strong interest in maintaining the territorial integrity of its member states and would likely view the annexation as a direct threat to the stability and security of the region. Annexation would be met with significant opposition from the international community, which would lead to economic sanctions, travel restrictions, and the suspension of diplomatic relations. It would also lead to diplomatic tensions between Morocco and the rest of Africa, as it would be viewed as a direct challenge to the African Union's mandate to promote unity, peace, and prosperity in Africa. The country has been recently readmitted to the African Union after a 33-year absence due to their issue with the Western Sahara, and this action would definitely destroy all progress. Ultimately, if this happened, there is a small chance of Morocco being successful. Once again, this is hypothetical and we're not instigating political or YouTube tension, so please keep away from the keyboard if your instinct is to attack us. So what do you think? We have a similar video on a region in Namibia that has tried leaving Namibia. Click here to see what could have happened if the Caprivi Strip left Namibia, or click here to see what YouTube is suggesting from our video library. Do not forget to subscribe and like the video to help us. Comment below to discuss or request a video. Okay, bye now.